God'll get you for that one.
Maude is owned by Shout Factory.
God'll Get You for That, Walter is produced for entertainment purposes only.
Sponsored in part by Finley's Friendly Appliances. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of God'll Get You for That, Walter.
And he was getting quite a few people.
He was getting it.
In this episode.
Yes. He was getting a lot of people this episode.
Yes.
The episode in question... Well, first of all...
Who are we?
My name is Tom Catt.
Is it?
No.
No.
I'm Maude.
And who am I?
I have no idea. Who are you?
I'm Toni Homeperm.
You're Toni Homeperm.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Bienvenue.
Thank you.
Bienvenidos.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here in my own home.
Oh, hell's bells.
Oh,
so
boy.
welcome. Today we are going over the episode Arthur Moves In. This was Season 1, Episode 17, aired originally on February 6th, 1973.
Yes. I remember it well.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
I thought not. We only have one special guest, and that is Ernie, played by Dick Wesson.
The milkman.
The milkman.
Yes.
And his name is Ernie, and I think this was his only appearance in the show.
Uh-huh.
And that's, but...
He
was very pretty.
He didn't have Wessonality.
Before we recorded, I had a brain fart, I did, where Tony made that statement saying, Wessonality, I wonder if he has Wessonality. And I'm like, Wessonality? What in God's name are you talking about? And he goes, Florence Henderson!
Mm-hmm.
She did the Wesson Oil commercials.
Wesson Oil commercials, yes. You have to have Wessonality.
Have to have Wessonality.
You are nothing without Wessonality.
I could just hear Florence Henderson saying that. Oh my God. Because I remember those commercials years ago.
Yes.
Because they used to re-air them in the 90s.
I know. She would dip something in the oil and eat it, and I was like, what the... Who does that?
Who does that?
Who does that?
I mean, nowadays it's a delicacy. You go to Italian restaurants,
Well,
they have
that's
the
true.
fresh cut bread, and they have
But that's
oil.
olive oil.
It's olive oil with balsamic vinegar
and some spices and things, and it's a crusty bread. I mean, she was dipping
Wesson oil.
Yeah, Wesson oil. That's tasteless.
What was it? Wasn't that there was the one joke in Golden Girls? History teacher seeking non-smoking Oriental woman who
Yes.
bears what was it?
A resemblance
into Wesson oil and a striking resemblance to Florence Henderson.
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh God.
Seeking non-smoking. I said non-smoking, but yeah, just remembering that it took me on a mental journey.
All is coming back now.
All is coming back to me.
all
Thank
comes
you,
back,
Celine
yeah.
Dion.
Yeah.
So this was.
Will your heart go on?
No, it won't.
Oh well.
It won't.
Oh well.
I'll never leave Jack, and then she did.
I always say, if the role that Kate Winslet played was played by Kate Moss, there would have been enough room on that little float for Leonardo DiCaprio.
There was plenty of room for both of them to get on that board.
I mean, if only if
If
role had
only.
been played by
If
Kate
only.
Moss
If
instead
only.
of Kate Winslet. Leonardo
Leo DiCaprio could not have perished.
He would have lived.
He would have lived.
He would have lived. Oh well.
Oh, merciful heavens. So this episode was nuts.
Yes. This was like one of those sort of madcap kind of
yes,
episodes.
very rompy, very
Yeah.
campy.
Yeah.
Very, very melodramatic.
Yeah, well, Maude. Melodramatic?
So the episode starts with Maude furiously cleaning and cooking in her kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Try saying that 10 times fast. Cleaning and cooking in her kitchen.
Crisp bacon.
Crisp bacon.
Oh, and the
She was
mantra
also-
of one more day.
And she was throwing away beer cans from the night prior.
Yes.
So we come to find out that Arthur, his home had caught fire. His home. I don't think.
Well,
his
we
home
found out
burned
because Ernie the
down.
milkman just
comes
walked in.
Just walks in.
And can you
Did
imagine
he
that?
knock on the door?
I don't even know. I think he just walked right in.
Maybe he just walked right in. That's so silly.
I mean,
That's so silly.
I can't imagine that because sometimes I'm naked in my kitchen. And I don't know what I would do if the milkman walked in.
You'd sleep with him.
Probably.
So Ernie the milkman...
In my younger days. My younger single days, anyway, yes. Absolutely.
Ernie just waltzes on in and is delivering groceries.
Prune yogurt.
And Lorna Doone.
Yes.
Well, because Ernie is the delivery boy or the milkman.
For the neighborhood.
Yes. He usually delivers to Arthur's house.
Right.
And because Arthur's house is under renovation because of the fire, Arthur is having his groceries delivered to... again, one of those very interesting things where nowadays, you wouldn't have to worry about calling all of your people and giving them whomever you're staying with's number.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a thing that you had to do years ago. Like, if you were staying at somebody's house, you would say, I'm staying at XY address with XY and phone number.
Right.
And then you would forward all of your mail and all of your phone calls to that house and to that number.
Right. Yes.
That doesn't happen today.
No. Because people just call you on your cell.
Because people just call you on your cell phone, and then that's it.
Yeah, the cell goes with you wherever you are.
There are a lot of people that I know personally who have just done away with landlines.
Oh, yes. I know.
Landlines do not exist anymore.
They don't exist for a lot of people.
It's like bells are ringing for the modern age.
Yes. And I have to ask, I have never seen prune yogurt in the dairy section. And what's more, I can't imagine eating prune yogurt.
Must keep you mighty regular.
Mighty regular.
Yes.
And Arthur was showering and singing Gilbert and Sullivan
off key.
Yes.
I think one of the there were a couple of a stagey physical comedy gags, like Maude trying to open the jar of jam. And she's struggling, and then she goes, "Oh, let them worry about it." She slams the jar on the table, and then
the lid was
off. The lid is off in her hands.
Yes. You had to make sure the toast was medium.
So
we're finding out that Arthur is very
picky.
Very about picky. How he wants everything.
Just as an overarching thing to say here. Mm-hmm. Up until season 2 or 3, Arthur is infuriating.
Really?
Just absolutely... Conrad Bain plays what a great douchebag. Mm-hmm. And he actually... Hilariously enough, and anecdotally, tangentially, we'll get to that episode in time, but he had a twin brother.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Conrad had a twin brother that actually played in an episode of Maude.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get to that later.
Oh, interesting.
Overall, Arthur plays a very convincing pain in the neck.
Yes. He plays a very convincing dickhead.
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much
so. Now Walter comes in, adjusting
his
towel. And
And
as we've said,
Walter's very comfortable being in the buff.
Bill Macy was very comfortable because he had done Oh Calcutta, which ran for, many, many years.
Many years on Broadway.
Off-Broadway.
On and off Broadway.
And he was part of the original cast, and they were all naked. So he had no
He was very comfortable.
issues. He was very comfortable in his own skin. So
we've said in previous episodes, members of the Academy for television, for the Emmys.
Yes.
There was one point in time when Bill Macy was at an award ceremony and took his pants off.
Mm-hmm.
Just was buck naked from the waist down.
Lovely.
And the Academy basically said, we are never giving that Maude show an Emmy because of what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And she won one anyway!
Yes, she did. Oh, my Lord. I'm going to have to auto-tune that.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry if your ears were blown out. So Walter he's drinking his orange juice, and Maude remarks that he looks like Mark Spitz. Now,
Mark Spitz.
Do you know who Mark Spitz is?
Yeah, he's he's an Olympic medalist
swimmer. Yes, and back in the early 70s.
Who's the swimmer these days that people are comparing him to Mark Spitz? Oh, what was his name?
Tim Daly?
No, I know that's the diver. Tim Daly's a diver.
Oh.
Who I'm thinking of is,
I know
you
who
know
you're
what,
talking about.
yeah.
Yes, I can't remember his name.
With technology right at our fingertips, you would think that we would be smart enough to look this stuff up.
But we're lazy.
We're lazy. But we're lazy,
so,
and that's just how it works.
It's the guy in the pool with all the medals.
With all the shoulders, those shoulders.
And then the Speedo, that guy.
Him.
So him. Yes. So Walter, he can't take a shower because
how many medals did Mark Spitz win?
He won a lot. I remember like a
6
photo.
or 7.
I remember a photo where he had like
all the medals across his chest.
Yes,
because that was what you did.
Yeah. So Walter can't shower because Arthur's in their bathroom.
Yep.
So they were playing cribbage.
They were playing cribbage
late that night.
And we find out that Arthur has been staying with them for just 3 days.
Right.
And in 3 days, he has caused
havoc,
so much chaos, and so much havoc in Maude's life.
Yes. And you can tell Maude has had it.
Maude is beast,
yes.
to put it as plainly as possible.
Okay. And now Walter's complaining because Arthur has used up all the hot water, so he can't take a shower. And the utility shower, which Maude is like, why can't he?
Why can't Arthur use the utility shower?
The utility shower.
What is a utility shower?
I think it would be like just a little square kind of a thing with just like it's not like a bathtub with the shower.
It's just a shower head.
Just a shower head.
It's sort of when you would see it like a pool, like a community pool.
Yes.
And like before you go in the pool, you would like drench yourself with the water.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, like a lot of communal pools. They want you to rinse off before you actually go in the pool, which is why I don't like community pools. I feel like you're in a vat of human soup.
You're in a petri dish, for goodness sake.
I know.
So, Walter goes, but before he goes, Maude gives a great zinger. While you go and do that, what did she say? I know that the punchline was, you stay down here like a good boy and poison his coffee.
Yes.
And I think Maude was, I guess, Maude was going to do some such fiddle faddle and rod, and that was what cued the punchline.
Yes.
So Carol comes downstairs and, jokes with Walter. Oh, it's Mark Spitz.
Yes.
And I think Walter exits at that point.
Yes.
And then Maude and Carol have a conversation about poached eggs.
Yes, because Arthur's poached eggs have to be made.
I tell you,
I
have every time I watch that scene, I'm exhausted. After that recipe.
Yes.
It's poached egg.
Yes.
And I think Maude said something about making them in the little ceramic cups.
She used to make them in little ceramic
cups.
Arthur doesn't like
that. Arthur likes his poached eggs being stirred. The water must be brought up to a furious boil and stirred very gingerly with a wooden spoon. Now, it must be wooden so not to give a metallic taste to the egg.
Yes.
And I think she said something to the water.
Yes. You have to slide the egg into the
eye of the whirlpool.
By the way, do you like poached eggs?
I don't mind poached eggs.
I'm not crazy about them.
I mean, I have to be in the mood for them.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take a fried egg.
Oh, absolutely.
I will take a sunny side up fried egg. Absolutely.
Hard boiled, soft boiled. But of all the ways to eat eggs, poached would be my least favorite.
I mean, because you never know if it's going to be fully cooked or not.
Yeah. And they're quite tasteless. A little bit. Which is, I guess, why they use them in eggs Benedict and dump a vat of hollandaise sauce.
A vat of sauce made out of eggs on
top of them. Right, exactly.
I've had eggs Benedict once. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It just, it's there.
Yeah. It's like...
I don't necessarily want to know what my cholesterol would be after having that almost every day for a week.
Yeah, really.
So the poached egg
And I know there was a remark about something about Julia Child.
Yeah. I think she said it's enough to make Julia Child lose her ladle.
Did you ever watch Julia Child?
Of course I have.
Oh, you have?
I adore Julia Child. I have been told I should impersonate Julia Child.
You would do a great Julia Child. Oh my God, I'd love to see.
Welcome to the friendship. My name is Julia Child. Bon appetit. You're like Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Chopping my finger off
and the blood starting. That is classic television. That is really classic television. And she passes out from the blood loss.
Yep. I'd have fun as Julia Child. Oh my God, I would not know what the heck I would do, but it would just be too fun.
You have to watch. Well, you can watch like
I use
old stuff.
we use Tubi TV in this house, and on Tubi TV, I think you can watch the old French cooking with Julia Child.
Yeah. Yes. I think I actually have them on DVD. I did have them on DVD somewhere.
Wow, you are gay.
Oh, definitely. So gay. Oh, ultra gay.
But I mean, she was something fabulous, and she was tall.
Yes, very tall.
She was a very strikingly tall woman.
Yes. Yeah.
I too am a strikingly tall woman.
Yes, it's true.
So
Florida,
at that point, Florida enters, but
comes
before she enters, she opens the door a crack.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Hello, is there a doctor in the house?"
Yeah.
And Maude says, "Yes," and she says, "Bye." And I feel so sorry for Florida because she had to literally. So Florida enters, and she obviously is over
Arthur being
in the house
because he's using everybody.
Everybody.
Except he really didn't seem to bother Carol.
He knew better.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Florida has been taking care of his laundry.
Yeah, she took stuff home. She took stuff home to do it because she didn't have enough time to do everything she had to do.
Everything else she
had to do
at
at Finley's house and do Arthur's. I think she had to iron the shirts.
Iron his shirts, have his jockey's shorts stay puffed.
Stay puffed, whatever that is. And she darned the socks.
And, Maude
was furious.
Maude is pissed.
Yeah.
Like, Florida is my servant. Obviously Maude is a very territorial person. Yes. But she also knows that, Florida can only do so much work in a day.
Yeah.
And to also have Arthur, whom Maude does not exactly have the highest of opinions of, taking advantage of her maid, it's annoying and it's very, very frustrating.
Yes, very. Oh, so Arthur finally comes down and he's singing the Buttercup
Gilbert
song.
And Sullivan's Here Buttercup.
Yes.
But still I am Buttercup. Carol, get me a shovel. I'm going to plant Little Buttercup. That still tickled me.
I think he has the paper, which he's practically shredded, and and I think Walter has come in at this point.
Walter's like, how am I supposed to read the paper like this? And Arthur says, oh, I have it all programmed to memory.
Yeah.
He says,
what do you want to know?
The liberals are fighting. As some... Oh, God, something happened with sports. And some famous actress person was assaulted by... just something very of the time, the day.
Exactly.
Humor of the day, we'll call it.
Yes.
That we have no idea what happened.
Now Maude was, she was poaching the eggs.
Yes.
But
they were joking about elephants don't ride bicycles.
Yeah, there's a joke
because
about...
when Carol left, she says, I'm going to go take my bike to go to work.
Yes.
And that's what cued Laurel and Hardy to start laughing about.
Yes.
About the bicycle. Because elephants don't ride bicycles. And that's
it
was
an important joke that they had heard. And, of course, they started laughing about it. And Maude wants to, Maude is like, she wants to be in on the joke.
Of course she does, because Maude...
like, what's so funny?
Maude likes to be included.
Yes.
Maude enjoys being included.
Yes. Yes. And now this is also where we get to when she made Arthur's poached egg. Arthur has an issue.
Arthur gets up and says, oh, and Maude counters saying, what, He goes, I don't want you to think I'm finicky, but if you do left to right whirlpools instead of right to left whirlpools, it collects the eggs much better. It
collects the white of the egg much better. Yes.
She
has to stir counterclockwise.
I mean, like Maude said, I would dump him in the aisle of the whirlpool.
Right.
So Arthur says, why don't you give that poached egg to Walter? So Maude quips, as she so often does, saying, Walter, make up for my shortcomings and eat it right to left instead of left or eat it right to left, or eat it counterclockwise. And, I would be, not for nothing, I would be annoyed if a guest that I invited into my house was so...
aggravating.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Like, if If ever a guest that I invite into my home was as big a pest and as big a pain in the neck as Arthur, I wouldn't be friends with them.
Nah, couldn't.
I just wouldn't be friends with
Yeah,
them.
no.
But I mean, that's what you end up finding out with whether you're in a friendship or a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to live with your partner in order to know if you're going to be compatible enough to marry your partner and stay with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
So the episode doth continue.
And Arthur ends up not even eating the egg. He tells Maude he's gonna get breakfast.
He's just going to go to breakfast downtown.
Oh, and I think that's when the phone rang.
It's before the... I want to say Maude's line so badly.
Which line?
Arthur, the next time you want eggs a certain way, I'm going to give you an egg a certain way. And, I get it. She's reached a breaking point.
Oh, yeah.
But the phone does ring, and it turns out to be a patient.
Mrs. Martell. And because Maude was going to eat
Maude was getting ready to eat the poached egg.
That she had made counterclockwise that Arthur now did not want. And Arthur is talking about the finger draining and the nail falling. Call him when the nail falls off. And Maude is like getting queasy hearing this and looking at a poached egg.
Maude was squeamish about it.
It's like, ugh.
Maud was squeamish about the conversation.
And she's still reciting her mantra of one more day.
One more day. It's important to know that we're saying one more day.
One more day. That reminded me of, what was that movie? Better Off Dead? The little paper boy? $2. Where's my $2? You remember that?
Yes! Oh, my goodness. So, yes. So, after the one more day, we cut to...
The phone rang again.
And it was
and
the
Arthur
contractor.
Picked it up in the living room.
Arthur picked it up in the living room.
It was Harvey.
Harvey, the contractor.
And at first he's saying, there's complications. So you're assuming... And Walter was there, and we're all assuming it's about a patient.
It's about a patient.
It's complications, possibly a patient has died. But that's not the case.
No, unfortunately, it is not the case. Because Arthur's home is so old, there are some things that are very difficult to replace and fix. So, the contractors are going to have to take another 2 weeks to get the renovation finished. Mm-hmm. And Walter, Arthur being gracious for once, says, let me go stay at a hotel.
Right.
And Walter, being the friend that he is, says, no, absolutely not. You could stay here with us. And, they have a little bit of a friendly back and forth. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you sure that, nobody's going to be too annoyed with me staying here? Mm-hmm. And, they go back. They go back and forth. And then as they're leaving, because it's agreed that Arthur's going to stay in the house.
Yes.
While Arthur's putting on his suit jacket to leave, Walter notices a toy gun.
A toy machine gun.
A toy machine gun in the top of the closet.
Yes.
And,
Arthur had gotten it as a gift for Philip.
Arthur had gotten it as a gift for Philip.
And Walter tells Arthur, you can't
Carol
give that.
hates guns, and so does
Maude. He's like, you can't give Philip, a toy gun.
Yeah. And then they start, joking around, except Arthur said something to the effect of, it's just they're wrong.
Yeah.
And again, we're still having the same conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
Oh, my goodness gracious. But he does this sort of piss-poor Edward G. Robinson impersonation.
Right.
And starts firing the gun off.
Yes.
To which...
Gonna do to you what you guys did to my sister.
Yeah, some of that effect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to you just the same way you gave it to me. And his sister. And just starts rattling off the gun, and then that's when Maude enters.
Maude hears that, and she flips out.
Completely and totally flips out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in that instance, while it may have been a little overacted, I would still understand completely and totally why Maude would freak out the way that she did.
Yes. Yeah.
Were
Were you allowed to have toy guns as a kid?
We were allowed to have, water pistols. We were never allowed to have guns that were, BB guns. We were never allowed to have BB guns. We were never allowed to have any type of, weaponry that was able to hurt or harm somebody. Mm-hmm. Except maybe in, a toddler sort of way. Little plastic pellet guns. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of like what other type of weaponry that we like would have lying around the house. I used to. So when I was a little tyke, Batman Returns was like the big thing in the 90s. And, you know, being an impressionable young queer youth,
yes.
I saw Catwoman and I'm like, oh, look at this!
Yes. I think Michelle Pfeiffer in that cat suit had a great effect on a lot of impressionable gay youth.
A lot of
I think so. Yes.
And I remember when me and my family were going, I think the Rainforest Cafe or some type of like.
Oh, I remember that place.
And they had like a little gift shop where you'd be able to like buy certain things and whatnot. And I remember my mother buying me and my brother these rubber snakes that were like long and sort of, you know, rubbery and whatnot. And that used to be my whip.
Oh.
It used to be my whip.
A whip at such an impressionable age.
I actually took as I got older, like I kept on asking my parents, like, I just want a bullwhip. I just want a bullwhip. I just want a bullwhip.
I'm imagining you as a child asking for like a kitty like sling and a kitty like
never any of that. I will say this though,
kitty like handcuffs.
Again, anecdotally. When I was younger, because of course my feet were smaller, I was able to fit in my mother's shoes. And I would wear her like black leather ankle boots and would walk around the house saying, life's a bitch, now so am I.
Ah!
You would think that these would have been clues.
Clues. The seeds were definitely planted. And definitely took root and sprouted. But sometimes one cannot see the forest for the trees.
But I mean, when I was younger, these were the characters that sort of resonated with Catwoman, Ursula, the Wicked Witch of the West, Maleficent, the Evil Queen. These were all characters that I was like watching, and I'm like, I want to be like them. And then I started cosplaying in drag, and that's exactly who I am.
I know. Well, as gay youth, I don't know. Either you're one way or the other. Either you're definitely like Disney princess, or you want to be the villainess. I always lean more towards the villainess myself.
Thank God, because if you were a princess, I wouldn't be able to.
The princesses were so boring.
They were.
They really were boring. The villainesses. I mean, you know.
I want to ask, who are some of your drag inspirations?
Well, definitely like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Wicked Witch of the West.
I was like, oh, she was cool. She was green. Fabulous. She had these flying monkeys.
She had that gorgeous pointed hat.
I know. I was like, you know, and plus, you know, I hated to bathe when I was a kid, and she didn't like water. So I was always, you know, I figured we had that in common.
You have that in common with a lot of celebrities, actually.
I know,
some celebrities these days
don't
also don't like bathing.
They don't like to bathe. I know. I was a dirty child.
Oh, merciful heavens!
I'm not anymore. Now I'm very.
When I was younger, I took very long showers.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I would take 20, 30 minutes in the shower. I like.
And what scenarios were being played out in the shower? I'm sure.
Usually, it was just because I like being warm in the shower.
Oh, okay.
Had nothing to do with any type of like any. I would never like. I would never do. I don't know what you're trying to imply, but I would never do that.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just saying, as a kid, I can imagine you're like in the shower, and like we're going through the rainforest now.
Oh no!
The water is beating down on us, and we must find the lost tomb.
Oh my God!
You know,
never did any sort of role playing in the shower.
Oh, okay.
Not until I was much older.
And that was a very different kind of role play.
Much so. Much so. Okay then. Hi, welcome back.
How did we get there?
Welcome back, friends.
Oh my Lord!
Well, you know that's what gun.
Now I feel like I need a shower now.
That's what gun violence leads to. It leads to having impure thoughts in the shower.
Impure thoughts in the shower. Who would have guessed? This is why we must get rid of the toy guns.
This is why we must get rid of the toy guns. So Maude comes in. She's frantic. She's saying, "How dare you bring this toy gun into my home?"
Mm-hmm.
And Arthur backtracks and says, "Oh, I bought it for my grandson. I'm giving it to him tomorrow."
Yes.
And Maude says, "Well, just make sure that Philip doesn't see it."
Right.
Because obviously, if Philip saw a toy gun, he would obviously want it.
He would want it, yeah.
For himself.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's when Maude finds out that Arthur's going to be there for two more weeks.
Yeah, well, when that's what cues Arthur to leave. So Arthur exits, and again, Maude's frantic, like, one more day. I cannot, like, I'm clinging to that like a drowning
I just
woman,
have to
Walter.
hold
I
on
just have to
for
hold on for one
one
more
day.
day. And Walter then announces,
Have you ever had that happen?
what?
Where you were expecting like something that you had to endure, like it was only like a certain amount of time that was left, and you told yourself, like, I know I can hold on, and then you find out it's going to be even longer. Although, you know what? Maybe we've actually been living. Actually, maybe we've been living that.
I was going to say we've been living that.
Maybe we've actually all been living that.
If you want to laugh, again, anecdotally, I just saw an article that says new statistics are showing that you can have. For frig's sake, Tom. Oh, hell. New statistics suggest the chances of a breakthrough infection if you are fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still have a breakthrough infection despite being fully vaccinated. And it's like, we learned nothing.
Yeah.
And the government, we're not going to have a show. We're not going to like lockdown again.
No.
It's just going to become part of the United States.
I think the world has changed, and COVID is not going away.
Nope.
And it's.
But my thing is, if the United Kingdom can have another lockdown, if Italy can have another lockdown, if Australia can have another lockdown, if other countries in Europe can have another lockdown, why can't we?
Because we have a lot of entitled Americans who, they feel their rights
a lot of Arthurs in the
who
universe.
feel their rights are being
Infringed upon.
And I've been seeing a lot of like those funny videos, but not really funny. Those videos like on Facebook, like some crazed person, they won't wear a mask on a plane, and they're having to drag them out of the plane, and I'm just like,
Enough.
Enough. Yeah.
So the episode continues.
It continues.
With Maude Findlay being lost at sea. And after that, Walter says, I'm not going to be home tonight because Walter and I are going to, the fights? Oh, no!
Arthur, no, they have
Even
tickets
before that.
to the Lumberjack show.
Even before that. Even before that, Walter was like, I have been trying to keep Arthur out of your hair.
Yes.
I've been trying to make sure that, you two haven't been, in each other's company for too
Right.
long. Because
Right.
obviously, when Arthur and Maude are in...
It's oil and water.
Very much oil and water. They just cannot
Yes.
agree on anything. They cannot act amicably with each other, which, again, kind of familiar to what we're all going through right now as individuals.
Sure.
So Walter is going out tonight with Arthur.
With Arthur.
And if you are with your partner and you have not made whoopee since the friend came to stay, how would you react?
I'd probably be getting a little edgy.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I mean, I also would be a little, I'd be a little angry. I'd be a little perturbed where it's just number one, when are we going to be intimate with each other? Because every night Walter has just been trying to hang out with Arthur and appease Arthur and keep Arthur locked away from Maude, I get it. But at the same time, have respect for your partner.
And Maude is feeling neglected.
Incredibly so.
Very neglected.
So she goes, did you ever think about asking me? Did you ever think about asking me?
Right.
To which Walter quipped, okay, Maude, can I go out with Arthur tonight?
Yes.
And after a long pause we get the infamous, God'll get you for that, Walter.
That we do. That's the first one.
That is the first one.
Yes.
So Walter is basically explaining, we're going to see I think it was like a lumber show. Or
lumberjack show. There's
lumberjack
rail splitting,
and
log rolling.
Yeah,
you know.
And Maude's like, "How dare you? I love log rolling. It's my favorite activity in the world, second only to log rolling. I mean, a rail splitting, log rolling.
Yes,
I said log rolling twice.
Yes.
Before we even continue, I actually have a statement to make about a previous episode. Planned Parenthood actually put out a statement recently saying that vasectomies are not reversible.
They're not?
They're not.
I thought they were.
They're permanent. I'm definitely going to double check my sources, but Planned Parenthood put out a statement about that.
Men have had them reversed.
I guess it must be a different procedure.
Maybe there's different kinds of vasectomies.
I suppose
Maybe there's some that are
more permanent than others.
Because
but yeah,
I've always heard about them being reversed.
That's what I thought too. And then I saw a friend of mine post something from the Planned Parenthood website, and I'm like, let me just double check this. And sure enough, it was on the Planned Parenthood website. So, anecdotal. I figured I would make the statement.
Okay.
And now we move on.
Yes. All right.
So after Walter tries to explain that Maude would not be interested,
right? Which she wouldn't.
Be, obviously. It would honestly be the same thing as the convention. Like, why don't you invite me places? Oh, but I didn't want to go anyway.
Right.
Maude, as a matter of fact, Maude turns to him and says, one of the singular gifts I've ever seen from Maude, where she turns to Walter and goes, tacky excuses.
Tacky excuses, yes.
Feeble, tacky excuses. And that's the only gift that I've ever seen from Maude outside of the opening sequence.
Yep.
So Maude ends up kicking Walter out, says, go and do. And then while you're out there, you can go to some type of show where Miss Lily can put you into orbit with her dancing vibrators.
Her dancing vibrators, yes. I wrote down dancing vibrators, but then I couldn't remember why.
That's what she said. Miss Lily will put you into orbit with her parlor. I've never been to a show where a burlesque dancer used dancing vibrators.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know. I guess we're not going to the right shows.
So, I mean, a drag show where Miss Lily could put people into orbit with a dancing vibrator. I could definitely see that being a thing.
Sure. I don't see why not.
So Walter leaves. He's a little bereft, and then Carol comes downstairs, and she's like, "Well, what was the argument all about?" Because Carol does live in that house, and she hears pretty much everything that goes on.
How could you not?
I would honestly,
my God,
a house I would not want to live in just based on the screaming.
I know, right?
And Maude turns to Carol and goes, "After how many years?" After all these years.
Yeah, after all these years.
I have finally found the perfect marriage. And she breaks down saying, Walter and Arthur!
The perfect marriage, yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, on the one hand, how nice would it be to have a friend that you'd be able to, like, go out and do all of those things with? But on the other hand, like, try and balance between good friends and relationship.
Yeah. So, that's where we end scene.
That's scene one, fini. We now come back after a commercial break, and Maude is in bed reading a book, and she's trying very hard to stay awake.
It was How to Play Cribbage, I think.
It was the book How to Play Cribbage, even though at first she called it pornography.
Yes.
So she slaps herself.
Yeah, because she's falling asleep.
She's
trying to stay awake.
The faces that she was making.
Yes.
So she slaps herself awake and she goes, "Why am I hitting myself? Why am I talking to myself?"
Because Walter's not home.
Yet. And then she says, "Let me try and see if I can keep myself awake." And she turns on her radio set, and on the program,
no, it was the TV.
It was the TV.
Yeah, they were announcing the guest for Johnny Carson.
That's who it was. Johnny Carson. Why did I think Mike Douglas?
I don't know. It was Johnny Carson.
So for Johnny Carson, it was Alan Lunt,
and Betty White.
And
funny, which was funny.
Too hysterical. And I think two other people. And then Maude clicks the television off and says, "I'd rather hit myself."
Yes.
Which, comical because Betty White ends up becoming her co-star later in life.
Yes.
And I want to point out, because Betty White, I think, is mentioned one or two other times in the show, there was never a feud between Betty and B.
Right.
They just came from two very different schools of acting. Mm-hmm. And B was also an incredibly sensitive individual. Mm-hmm. She did not like being the butt of jokes. Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, because Dorothy is constantly the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
But when I remember seeing Joy Behar and Betty White talking about it, and Betty was like, B was not a fan of me. And it stands to reason, because Betty would always play with the audience. She would always break the fourth wall. She would break character. And B came from the stage, where if you break character, it better be on purpose. Like, there better be a reason behind it. Because in the theater, you're not supposed to break character.
Right.
And in television, you can break character whenever you want, because the take would not be printed.
It didn't matter.
So
it didn't matter.
I just want to clear the air on that one, because there's a lot of disparity, because in those Golden Girls groups, they're all like, B and Betty didn't like each other. B and Betty didn't like each other at all. And I'm like, they were professionals.
Yeah.
Sure, B probably didn't like Betty, especially after what Ruth said in B's eulogy.
What was that? I don't remember.
Oh, you haven't seen that. We're going to have to bleep this part out, kids.
Oh.
But Rue basically starts by saying something that B had said to her, or said to somebody else. She said, I loved Rue. Betty's a...
Oh? I'm going to have to definitely bleep
We're
that.
going to bleep that.
We'll
also,
bleep that.
One of my acting coaches told me a story about a friend of his that used to be, I think, either B's assistant or chauffeur, what have you. Mm-hmm. And B was getting ready to leave, and her phone goes off. And she goes to her phone, and she picks it up, and she goes, hello? Oh? I didn't mean to call Betty a...
C-word.
She's a mega!
C-word.
And hung up the phone.
Oh, my.
So... and even B's son was like, you need... I'm trying to remember the quote that he said specifically, but he said, my mother just needed somebody to be angry at and someone to be mean to.
Oh.
And that was Betty.
Huh.
So it's very interesting to see the humanity, the humanity of a...
Now I have to ask you, I don't know if this is true. I read somewhere that one time they were doing a read-through, and like there were a lot of the like jokes being made at Dorothy's expense, and B became very upset and started crying.
Yeah. Yes,
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
What happened? So, as Golden Girls neared its end, B only wanted to stay on it for 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Her contract was only for 6 seasons.
They got her to do a 7th.
They got her to do a 7th as long as the jokes that were landing were not exclusively at B. Arthur. Because her son had said to, I think, Jim Colucci, who wrote Secrets of the Golden Girls or some of that effect, he said, B's son, I should say, said, you're playing this character for 7 years, and you're the butt of the joke. Betty is not a ditz. Right. Rue is not a trollop.
Right.
Sophie is not old and whatnot. But B is tall. She has a very deep voice.
Right.
She has very masculine ways about her.
Right.
And those jokes were constantly like, how long would you as an actor be able to handle that?
Right. Yeah.
Like, for me personally, I wouldn't want my shortcomings and my insecurities to be put on full display like that.
Oh, me either. Fortunately, I have none.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
But that was something that actually happened where B was...
Yeah, and I never thought about that, because I'm wondering if, like, maybe that was, maybe B was really, as really teased about stuff like that.
She was,
as a girl.
She was,
and it would be, it would be hard to handle. So interesting.
I mean, and especially when you've gone through all of that bullying as a child, because she was 5'11" in her stocking feet when she was younger,
right? And
she would answer the phone, and people would be like, "Good evening, sir. May I speak with the woman of the house?"
Right.
And that's a difficult thing to deal with. Sure. And her name was Bernice. B. Arthur's real name is Bernice Frankel. but they used to pronounce it Bernice.
Bernice.
If they wanted to make fun of her, they would pronounce her name Bernice because it sounded more like a man's name.
Yeah.
So to have to go through all of that and then end up in Golden Girls, where your features and your body and your voice are constantly being the butt of the joke,
right?
It's a lot to handle.
That is.
So I commend her for her ability.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that was why she would have only signed. She signed on for season 7 exclusively because they were going to dial back the jokes.
Gotcha. Because it doesn't make sense because Betty White, she wasn't really a ditz.
She wasn't
Rue
a ditz.
McClanahan was not really a slut.
Was not really a slut.
Sophia was not this 80 something old
this
woman.
crone. She wasn't this crone.
Right. It was like for them the things that their characters got made fun of weren't anything real about them.
Yeah.
But the things that the Arthur got made fun of were things that were real about B. So that would be hard to handle. Interesting.
Yep.
All right,
so the episode continues. Maude is now upset because Walter isn't home. Carol comes into the room
asking for hand lotion.
Yeah. And Maude is commiserating to her daughter, like, I'm so upset, like, why? And Maude is really putting her insecurities on full display.
Yes.
It's almost midnight.
Yes.
Carol, I think, calls Maude a child.
Yes.
And
she refers to Walter and Arthur as Laurel and Hardy.
Carol actually said to Maude, insecurity is for children.
It's for children.
And Maude quips back, they make it for adults now.
That's right. So she hears them come in. And
she hears them come in, and she starts frantically putting on perfume. And it's called...
My God, she was spraying perfume all over the place.
It's called Night of Love.
Night of Love.
So she's spraying this Night of Love perfume all over the room and all over herself. And she goes, I saw it once in a Carol Lombard movie.
Right.
And she was trying to convince Clark Gable to stay with her. And who was the other person? Walter Slazak? Slazak?
Oh, I don't remember.
Slazak.
May have been.
I know Slazak. I'm not sure if Walter was the first name, though.
Might have been.
Because now I'm thinking of all the famous Walters. Walter Pinchel.
Walter Brennan.
But
it kept him from leaving.
It kept him from leaving.
So she figured if they would keep, him from, going to Hong Kong, she'll be able to use it to get Walter into bed.
Yes.
So
Maude wants to be amorous. Walter comes upstairs saying, I'm sorry I'm late. And Maude turns to him and goes, better late than never, Clark.
Yeah. And then she wants to apologize.
And that was actually Clark.
Oh, she did? Oh, yes, she
called him Clark.
She did. And she wants to apologize. And actually, she had told Carol that she wanted to apologize for being, so...
Melodramatic. So Maude, in fact.
So Maude.
So Walter's going back and forth between the bathroom and Maude is, of course, trying to be amorous and trying to...
She does that sexy pose on the bed.
Yep. And then as Walter exits, he goes...
Well, he comes out of the bathroom.
He comes out of the bathroom and he's got his bathrobe on. Yeah.
And she's like, what do you have the robe on? Because she thought, he's going to be getting, into bed. And, things were going to...
happen.
Going to happen. Because of the Night of Love perfume. I guess that's how you keep the man...
That's how you keep the man
from going to Hong Kong. Get him in bed, and they won't go to Hong Kong.
Wear the Night of Love. Wear the Night of Love.
And get them in bed.
So Walter gives an update on Arthur, saying, Arthur and I are going downstairs to
They have to finish the cribbage game.
I've never played... What is cribbage?
I have no idea.
You don't know what cribbage is either?
I hear it...
so good that you don't know what it is.
When I hear it, all I think of is that Quidditch game from
Harry Potter.
Is it something like that?
Not at all.
Fly around on a broom? Cribbage? Kidditch? I don't know.
No, it's not a kibitz.
Kibitz? Cabbage? Garbage? I don't know.
So, before Walter leaves, he says, "Oh wow, that bathroom spray smells really nice."
Yes.
And Maude's like, "That's my perfume. It's called Night of Love." Yeah. He goes, "Great. Does it come in pine?"
Pine, yeah.
And Maude, man, that just the look of if looks could kill, Walter would be dead on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Walter says, "No, but I could get you something.
I can get you something in pine." And
Oh, can I get you something in pie?
And, of course, she means a pine box.
Yeah.
A pine box. Which, oddly enough, that's what they buried Frida Claxton in.
They did bury it in
in
a pine box.
Actually, they meant to bury her in the pine box,
But
but
she ended up being cremated.
they accidentally cremated.
Which worked to their benefit.
Yes.
Rose put it around the tree and
Yes.
it became a landmark.
Isn't it? See how I tie all these things together?
Oh, yes. You and your SAT words always tie things
My
together.
goodness. I'm like, well, today I'm just tying it all together.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's when they hear the crash.
Casserole dish break.
And Maude immediately knows that it's her favorite.
Her favorite
Her
casserole.
favorite!
Have you ever had
Casserole
a
dish.
favorite? Have you ever had a favorite piece of crockery?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's certain things that I have, that they're the favorite. Things just come out better in those than in other things. What can I tell you?
Like your favorite Dutch oven?
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay.
I have two. They're both red, but one is my favorite.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it is.
I have to look forward to this in my old age.
Yes.
I have all of this to look forward to when I'm your age.
Yes, and I'm here to show you. I can just say,
A glimpse into the future.
look down the road, pussycat. That's what's waiting right down there for you.
Oh my goodness.
And I hand you a
gracious.
Kleenex.
And you hand me a Kleenex. Oh, that was something else that Arthur did. He had a quarter pound of Kleenex.
Yes.
That.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times my husband has yelled at me for leaving Kleenex in pockets.
At least it's just Kleenex. My father leaves change in his pockets.
I've done that too.
I can't.
Also, chapstick.
Yes. You ruin your pants that way.
I know.
You ruin your pants
even
that
have the
way.
chapstick
You ruin your
in my
pants
hand.
that way.
I know. You don't have to tell me, pussycat.
I know, but I'm going to anyway.
I know. So, they go downstairs.
They go downstairs because not only does Arthur break a casserole dish, but he also breaks a glass.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if a house guest broke anything, I would be like, great, that casserole
Well, I
dish
mean, if it was an accident, it's an accident. You can.
I don't think there are any accidents when it comes to Arthur.
Not when it comes to Arthur. But
not
I'm
when
saying.
it comes to Arthur. Accidental, sure.
Yes.
And then you would have to expect that your friend would be like, oh, I'll replace it. I'll get you a new one.
Right. You can't replace it. He was one of a kind. That's what I always do. So now, Maude is telling Walter that he's got to tell Arthur that he needs to get out. Otherwise, she's going to do it.
She's going to leave.
And she's
going to kick him out.
Right, and she's starting a countdown.
I think from 15 seconds.
Yes.
And Walter's like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's fine. And like back and forth. One of the things that I loved about this sort of sitcom, you don't see it a lot today, but you saw it a lot years ago when actors would talk over each other.
Yes. And
there would be a lot of juicy bits of dialogue in that sort of screaming over each other. Mm-hmm. You don't see that. I haven't seen that a lot lately in sitcoms today.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't watch sitcoms. I really don't. I think the last sitcom that I watched occasionally was Big Bang Theory.
I'm not exactly a humongous fan of it. I understand what it did. I appreciate what it did, but it's just not one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I can take or leave it.
I always thought it was funny.
I love Kaylee Cuoco.
Mm-hmm.
I adore Kaylee Cuoco, and I absolutely adore
Mayim
Bialik. What
Bialik?
was his name? Not Mayim. I mean, I like Mayim Bialik, but she's a little problematic.
The one who plays Sheldon.
Not Sheldon.
Not
although I love him and his partner is gorgeous.
Yes.
He was David in Roseanne.
Johnny Galecki.
Yes.
Yes.
I love him to bits and pieces.
Oh, okay.
I would not kick him out of bed.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
I had a crush on him when I watched Roseanne. I saw this very adorable kid, and I'm like, oh, he's kind of cute. Mm-hmm. Cute in an offbeat way. Cute in a quirky, offbeat way.
Yes.
I don't have a type. I don't have a type at all.
Neither do I.
I tell you don't.
What are you talking about?
Do you not remember the last episode where you were actually saying, oh, I love that Chris Evans, oh, I love that Chris Pine, oh, I love that Chris Hemsworth? They all look the same!
Well, yeah, they do.
That means you have a type.
No, but there's many others that,
I'd
still take Mark Ruffalo or, Tom Hiddleston.
Conventionally attractive male, fine, I get it.
Idris Elba. I mean, I'm very much the UN of love.
Oh my goodness gracious!
The
UN of you need to put
Ricky
that on a
Martin.
resume.
I mean, I'm like
He's
Blanche. I'm
hilarious.
a welcoming port.
A friendly port, a friendly port,
I'm a friendly port.
Oh my goodness gracious! So the episode continues. They're downstairs. They're arguing. And, Maude finally calls out Walter. Walter goes to the closet.
Yes, because he says this is the only way to get rid of them.
This is the only way to get rid of them. You rub them out.
You rub them out.
And he starts shooting at Arthur with the gun.
So they start playing war. And Arthur grabs a vase and he not a vase. I think it was like one of those
a
fruit bowl. Yes,
a fruit bowl.
puts it over his head like a helmet
and starts throwing lemons, hand grenades.
Oh, I thought it was it lemons? I thought it was apples.
No, he originally threw an apple. He originally threw a lemon. Walter said you should have thrown a Macintosh.
Should have thrown a Macintosh. Yes.
So at that point, the gun stalls.
Yes. Yeah.
Where they made a very disparaging Asian comment.
Joke. Yes.
Walter, I believe, says, "No wonder the Japanese lost the war."
Right.
And product of its time.
Yeah.
It was the 70s. At that point, you could write anything disparaging about any group of people and it would not be considered offensive because that was just how the FCC worked in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You could say and write, as long as it wasn't sexually perverse.
Yeah.
You could make racist commentary.
Oh, yeah.
You could make sexist commentary, but God forbid you say something about sex. Oh, the bells and whistles will go off and the censors will be on your ass like white on rice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have a lot of opinions about the censors. And I have a lot of opinions about the FCC, especially after what they did to Mae West.
Mm-hmm.
Poor thing nearly lost her career because of it.
So Maude, she grabs the gun.
She ends up grabbing the gun and starts her own Edward G. Robinson impersonation.
Which is almost as bad as
Arthur's.
Calling them dirty rats. And she's going to do to them what they did to her.
Yep.
And
starts firing away, and then the gun starts working again, and Walter's...
And there was something about the poached eggs again. I forgot.
3 seconds.
Yes.
Oh, God. No, I know what... my phone! Oh, no!
My Lord.
My phone is going
How
off.
dare it?
Oh, please, like your phone hasn't gone off before.
My phone isn't even in here. Because the battery ran out. It's charging.
Tacky excuses.
Tacky,
feeble excuses.
Feeble. Oh.
I
know there was something about the poached egg. But then Carol runs down because...
blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. No?
No, I'm trying to remember the chain of events. So, Maude gets the gun unclogged. Walter says unjabbed. That's
unclogged,
unjabbed, whatever.
You'd never make it on CSI.
I'd never make it on CSI. Ever. Walter goes, "That's my girl." Maude stops and says, "Don't you that's my girl me."
Oh.
And she goes on this little tirade.
Yeah.
Basically saying, why didn't you guys involve me in anything? I've wanted to be involved in things. There was a joke made about the poached egg, taking about 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but it was a cute a cute callback to earlier
to
in
the
the
poached
episode.
egg. I mean, that's typical.
That's
formulaic for comedy. You bring up something
that happened
earlier, and you laugh.
So Carol comes downstairs, and then she just starts, Maude goes, "This is for the cribbage, this is for the, oh God, this is for the laundry. This is for the poached egg in the whirlpool.
Yes.
That's
what
what
it
it was.
That's what it was.
And Carol comes downstairs and she's like, Mother, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And again, just everyone's yelling over each other and Maud's saying, I don't care, shooting at Arthur's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just takes it because I think either Carol or Walter says, you need to stop. And Maude just frantically spins around in a circle saying, I don't want to stop!
Yeah. So much for her being anti-gun.
Very much being
right.
anti-gun.
Yeah.
Again, the hypocrisy of man.
Yeah, there you go.
And she stops, and we finally realize what has been really going on.
Mm-hmm.
She admits
Yeah,
that she is jealous.
She's jealous.
She's jealous of Arthur and Walter.
Yeah.
Have you ever called somebody a think before?
A think. No,
I've called a few people a think.
not a thing. There's been a few choice words, but not think. Not think.
Think is a clean word.
Yeah.
We don't use clean words in
Yeah,
this house.
I mean, I've used the C word.
Me too.
I've used that.
Me and my girlfriend used to call each other that all the time. It's a term of
Yeah.
endearment for the two
Well,
of
yeah,
us.
for certain people.
Certain people it's a term of endearment, some people are just like,
Yes.
And meanwhile, they use it as a comma in Ireland and Scotland.
They use it as what?
A comma.
They use it as a comma. What do you mean?
You've never heard that joke before where you
No.
use a word as a comma?
No.
It means you use it frequently.
Oh, okay.
Like in my household, I'll always tell somebody we use the F word like a comma.
Oh, okay.
Like you just use it
It's
so
constantly, it would
fluently and
be-
so
it's
commonly.
almost like a comma.
Exactly.
Oh,
The
things
final
you
horse
know.
crosses the finish line.
Oh, the things you learn.
The things you learn when you listen to God Will Get You for That Walter.
Yeah, see? We're educational.
We're incredibly.
Yes.
The two of us. We could host our own Schoolhouse Rock.
I know.
It'll be Drag House Rock.
Yeah.
Or Schoolhouse Drag.
Schoolhouse drag. Oh, my Lord. Oh, the things that are going through my brain.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh.
I give you way too many ideas,
You
man.
do. And then you're forced to enact them.
Not inaccurate. Not inaccurate.
I know.
Not inaccurate
I
at all.
know.
So after Maude takes control of the gun, she relents, she does her thing, and then Arthur and Walter bring Maude to the couch, and they have this
Yes.
row of them. It's Walter, Maude, Arthur.
Actually, wasn't it? It was Arthur, Maude, Walter.
I know Maude was in the middle.
Maude was in the middle.
Either
Yes.
or on the other end.
Yes. She was in the middle.
And they're trying to explain, like saying, how do you feel about having three-handed cribbage instead of two-handed cribbage? Can you play three-handed cribbage? And Arthur goes, well, you can now.
You can now.
And the two of them are being like, well, chummy,
Yeah.
and like trying to carry on.
Yes.
And Maude turns to them both and says, okay, if you guys are serious, I just want to know one thing.
Right.
And she starts getting teary-eyed.
Yes.
And I love when B like puts on that fake crying.
Yes.
For some reason, it makes me laugh so hard. But she goes, why don't elephants ride bicycles?
Oh.
And then they all laugh, and then
We laugh.
then we have our epilogue.
Our epilogue.
So our epilogue goes where Maude
Maude and Walter are in bed.
Maude and Walter
They're
are in
lying
bed.
under the covers.
Walter's face is covered,
By the
concealed by the
newspaper.
newspaper. Maud is reading a book,
Mhm.
and Maud is very happy. She's content.
Yes.
Arthur is out of the house. They were able to put their differences aside.
Mhm.
She's going on this beautiful monologue about the beauty of marriage and the beauty of the friendship that all of them have. And Walter is snoring his head off.
He starts snoring. Yep.
And that's how the episode ends.
Yep.
Ha! Well, we thank you for joining us
My
on this enigmatic
I'm
episode
worn out.
of God Will Get You for That,
I'm
Walter.
worn out.
If you would like to continue to follow us, you can on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube and Facebook at God Will Get You for That, Walter. On Instagram at Finley's Friendly Appliances. You can also follow me at That Tomcat. And you can also follow Toni Homeperm at ToniHomeperm.com. That's Tony with an I.
Tony with an I.
With an I.
And of course, they can always email us at,
Yes, and you can email us at Finley's Friendly Appliances
at gmail.
at gmail.com.
That's right.
Whew.
All right.
Well, we will be...
Yep.
You will be hearing us
Oh,
soon
yes.
on another episode of God Will Get You for That, Walter. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.